Good morning, and welcome to Wash Park UCC at Mosaic. I'm Diane Peterson, although I think all of you here know me. And I am leading our service today as Nicole gets back from the Rocky Mountain Conference annual meeting in Provo. And I'm glad to be with you. She wrote on there, this beautiful morning. Well, I guess it's kind of beautiful. We need a cloudy day and some rain, right? We are joined by friends here in the sanctuary and by those joining us on Zoom. Let's take a moment to wave. You can say a special hello to my friend who I don't see on there anymore, but she's there, I know. You can say, I am. You'll find both visitor welcome cards and prayer request cards on the table as you come in. You can return those to the red box or the offering plate. Prayer requests will be shared in our monthly newsletter. And I do want to say a quick note too that there is going to be a compassion meditation that got missed in the bulletin. So that will be between the song and the prayers of the people. So know that there's going to be a compassion meditation there. And I'll be leading you in that, so it won't be, I just didn't want you to be surprised. And however you are arriving today, you are welcome because of who you are and where you are on life's journey. Now Beth will lead us in our call to celebration found in your bulletin.
Our call to celebration this morning is adapted from a writing on resistance by Lorraine Brantz, author, artist, poet, and director. In a time of cruelty, kindness is an act of resistance. In a time of hate, love is an act of resistance. In a time of poor leadership, community is an act of resistance. In a time like this, joy is an act of resistance. Amen. And now please stand in body or spirit for our opening song. From the New Revised Standard Version, Micah 6 through 8. Please note, at this church, we often lightly adapt scripture passages to use inclusive pronouns and expansive names for God, as many of us here believe that the Holy One who dwells among us cannot be confined to any single human image, gender, or name. She has told you, O mortal, what is good, and what does God require of you, but to do justice, love kindness, and walk humbly with your God.
both sides here.
Okay. Our second reading is by Naomi Shihab Nye. Nye is a Palestinian-American poet, editor, songwriter, and novelist. She wrote Kindness when she and her husband were on their honeymoon traveling in South America. At their end of the first week, they were robbed of everything, and someone on the bus with them was killed. As they were trying to figure out what to do next, a man came up to them and listened to their story and said he was so very, very, very sorry. He didn't give them anything, but listened. Before you know what kindness really is, you must lose things. Feel the future dissolve in a moment like salt in a weakened broth. When you held your hand, what you held in your hand, what you counted and carefully saved, all this must go so you know how desolate the landscape can be between the regions of kindness, how you ride and ride, thinking the bus will never stop. The passengers eating maize and chicken will stare out the window forever. Before you learn the tender gravity of kindness, you must travel where the Indian in the white poncho lies dead by the side of the road. You must see how this could be you, how he too was someone who journeyed through the night with plans and the simple breath that kept him alive. Before you know kindness as the deepest thing inside, you must know sorrow as the other deepest thing. You must wake up with sorrow. You must speak to it till your voice catches the thread of all sorrows and you see the side of death of the cloth. Then it is only kindness that makes sense anymore. Only kindness that ties your shoes and sends you out into the day to mail letters and purchase bread. Only kindness that raises its head from the crowd of the world to say, "It is I you have been looking for," and then goes with you everywhere, like a shadow or a friend.
What does God require of us? To do justice, to love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God. Let's look at what this means by looking at some definitions. Make sure we're all on the same page. To require is to need something as essential. To do justice is to stand up against systemic unfairness and ensure everyone is treated with equity. Kindness is the conscious choice to act with compassion, gratitude, and generosity towards others or yourself. To be humble means to be free from arrogance, recognize one's limitations, often putting the needs or accomplishments of others before one's own. So God has made standing up against systemic unfairness, acting with compassion and generosity without arrogance, essential. It is not called a commandment here in Micah, but Jesus in John 13:34 gives these as a command. A new command I give you, love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. We are to model our behavior after Jesus, to love as Jesus loved, which totally encompasses doing justice, loving kindness, and walking humbly with God. Wow, let's think about that for a minute. Does that feel overwhelming to anyone else? Because it sure does to me. It's a big ask, no, a requirement, a commandment. I need to figure out how to do this, to love as Jesus loved. As the title of my reflection states, I decided to look at kindness and compassion. As I was doing some research on kindness, I came across an article titled, "Why Kindness Isn't Soft, It's Rebellious," which makes me think of Jesus because he had a rebellious kindness. The article was by Hasnain Shah. He writes, "There is nothing weak about choosing to understand when others shout. Nothing fragile about helping when you could ignore. Nothing soft about believing in humanity when cynicism feels safer. Kindness is rebellion, quiet, powerful, and profoundly disruptive. And the more chaotic the world becomes, the more revolutionary it is to stay gentle." This is still Shaw writing. "We live in a time where outrage is a currency. Social media algorithms reward the loudest voices, the sharpest insults, the most divisive takes. We are encouraged to choose sides, build walls, and defend them to the digital death. Every day we're fed the idea that compassion is foolish, generosity is suspicious, and empathy is something corporations put in advertising campaigns, not something real humans practice. Kindness isn't soft. Kindness is subversive. In a world trained for conflict, compassion is countercultural." I love this talk of kindness and compassion being acts of resistance. Kindness and compassion. This sounds a little less overwhelming to me. I can use kindness and compassion to resist, to do justice, love kindness, and walk humbly with God. I also like that Shaw says kindness is revolutionary. Revolutionary. That makes me think of the 250th anniversary of our country. A country that started off with a revolution to become independent, to form a democracy. I have heard some celebratory comments about the 250th anniversary that made me wince, made me feel ill. The whitewashed celebration. I will say the first time I heard this whitewashed celebration language was during the Super Bowl. I was so incensed that I texted Allyson and said, "We need to stop the break from Take Action Tuesdays. I need to start writing again." Yeah. It feels as though some are trying to erase some pieces of our history to make this 250th celebration about something we aren't. Our country isn't perfect, but that doesn't mean we don't celebrate with truth. Recently, Allyson saw that United Church of Christ is partnering with the Values in Action Kindland Foundation of the United States of Kindness campaign to celebrate America's 250th anniversary. Together, they are encouraging everyone to do 250 acts of kindness before the end of the year to celebrate. This might sound familiar because we did put it in a Take Action Thursday not too long ago. And that is the kind of celebration of revolution that I can totally get behind. To do one kind act every day, to total 250 by the end of the year, we needed to start April 25th, but no worries. You can double up for 50 days if you're starting today, and we'll totally make up for the time we missed. Unless, of course, you started when the Take Action Tuesday or Thursday came out, like Kathy was saying earlier. I can't remember now what it is. Yeah, it's Thursday now. So if you need help coming up with some ideas for kindness acts, there are a couple of pieces of paper in the back that have ideas for you. And there's also a nice sheet, color sheet with some little circles on it. There's 250 circles on the page, so you can color in the circles so you'll know Barb is sharing that. You'll know when you've completed your task. And of course, you can do more than 250 acts. And for those of you online, the link to those were shared in the weekly email, so you can, pardon? Oh, and Peter put it in the chat too. So you can look for that there. If you have a hard time finding it still, you can email me and I will email you them directly. So does anyone have any recent acts of kindness they've done or someone has done to you that you would like to share? I have a couple, so you can think for a minute while I'm talking. One act of kindness to me I will share. At a recent appointment with my orthopedic nurse practitioner, he actually listened to me. I mean, he always listens, but this time he really listened. And he heard what I was saying, and it felt like he was engaged with me. And it was a little different. I just felt different than usual. He responded differently than he had before. And while it didn't fix my hips in that moment, it did make me feel better and cared for just to be heard. An act of kindness I performed recently was that I sent a handwritten letter to someone to share how important they've been to me over the years. So, does anyone have anything they'd like to share? And we've got a mic for you. Izzy's gonna bring it to you if you have anything.
When I was delivering supplies from WHI over to Warren Residences this week, one of the residents came out and helped carry all the things in, and that was really well appreciated.
Thank you.
Well, my act of kindness worked both ways. I was parked kind of far from the grocery store door and was getting out, and another lady was starting to trudge back to return her cart to the cart return, and I said, I'll take that. And she said, oh, that's great. I don't have to walk all the way back to the cart return. And I said, yeah, and I got one already going into the store.
Nice. And that interaction, that connection is part of that too.
I started doing this when you sent out that Take Action Thursday, and then I just realized, now that you mention it again, that I haven't been doing it, but I did it initially. And it started with really simple things like always letting, someone's trying to come out of a parking lot, I just stop and let them in. I don't understand why people are so busy they can't do that. And I started doing that, and I just do it every time I come across somebody. And I don't know, just little things like that makes me feel better. And then I also have been seen several specialists recently, medical specialists, and I've been actually filling out the reviews when they ask for it. And it makes me feel good that I acknowledged how great they have been for my care. So, and I realize now that I haven't been doing it, that I was actually really happy when I was doing that on a regular basis. So I'm gonna get that sheet and go back to doing that.
Excellent. Yeah, I started doing it too and then forgot to keep, it's like, how many have I done? Have I been doing it every day?
My brother and I had a long conversation yesterday, and he lives in Florida, so we don't talk as often as we should, but we both acknowledged how much we appreciated each other, and that's something when we talk we don't usually do, and so it was really, really heartwarming and nice.
Nice.
I think sometimes it's really hard to be kind on the folks that are around you all the time, that you take for granted. And I just have been trying to sometimes not say the little corrective thing or the, oh, I'm right, I was right. And just holding that in, just sometimes that's being kind, not saying the unnecessary thing.
Yesterday, I was at Ace Hardware buying a whole bunch of mulch, and the guy that was loading up my car, I bought 10 bags, and he was loading in 2 bags at a time. I can barely lift one. And I turned to him and I said, well, you definitely don't need to go to the gym. And he says, no, I don't. And he said, and also, I have to run up and down those stairs all day. And this was this skinny old guy that was doing all this, and I just thanked him for doing that.
Nice. Is there anybody online that wants to offer anything?
Sure, I'm Melinda. And yesterday, I was lucky enough to see someone trashing a bunch of bricks in the trash in the alley, and asked if they would mind if I rescued those. And that person went right to work helping load those bricks into the back of my car. When I got the bricks to the garden, I was wondering how was I going to schlep them all the way from my car to my garden. And one of the other gardeners, a nice young man that I've hardly had a chance to talk with, came up to me with the cart and said, "Can I help?" And brought the bricks to my garden, and whatever I didn't use, he came over and carried back to the shed so other gardeners could use them.
Wow.
It was one of the best days ever.
Nice. Okay, we'll take one more.
Hi, I'm Penny. Around the holidays, I typically bake a lot, and so I share cookies and with my neighbors, and the neighbors know that. But you know, it turns around too, because things like one of my neighbors was just walking to his car. I said hi, and he had a little plate with some sausage, and he said, "Do you want a piece?" And I, surprised, I took it. I'm like, "Thank you." You know, just little thoughts like that. Thank you.
Nice. And I will say I've noticed I've been kinder and more compassionate since I wrote this. So, you know, just thinking about it more really does make a difference. And I will say, thank you for sharing. Those are beautiful acts of kindness. And know that Nicole was pretty excited about this too, so that she was talking about having it as a recurring practice during Joys and Concerns. She's going to weave it into there, so know that you'll have more time to share acts of kindness throughout the year. And remember, as you go about doing your acts of kindness to celebrate the anniversary, that acts are kindness for the giver and the receiver. As some of you stated, science has even done studies to show that doing acts of kindness triggers the release of oxytocin, which can lower your blood pressure, so helping your heart. Kindness and compassion can decrease cortisol, a stress hormone, thus decreasing stress conditions. Kindness and compassion are connected with an antibody that strengthens your immune system. Dopamine and endorphins are released, which helps with pain relief. Not that you really needed more reasons to do it, but those are some pretty amazing reasons, right? Kindness is also contagious in a good way. Kindness makes more kindness. You're kind to someone, and they decide they want to be kind to someone. Kindness is rebellion, quiet, powerful, and profoundly disruptive. And the more chaotic the world becomes, the more revolutionary it is to stay gentle. We've talked a bit about compassion already, but let's look a little more. Compassion is the emotional behavioral response that arises when we recognize suffering and feel genuinely moved to ease it. In the poem by Naomi, while it is titled Kindness, it feels to me like there is a lot about compassion laced through the poem. She starts out letting us know we need to lose things to really know kindness. I think compassion too. Before you learn the tender gravity of kindness, you must travel where the Indian in a white poncho lies dead by the side of the road. You must see how this could be you. How he too was someone who journeyed through the night with plans and the simple breath that kept him alive. The suffering of the Indian is recognized. We have an emotional response and recognize the suffering. We are unable to ease his suffering, but we can still bear witness. Naomi goes on, before you know kindness as the deepest thing inside, you must know sorrow as the other deepest thing. You must wake up with sorrow. You must speak to it till your voice catches the thread of all sorrows and you see the size of the cloth. To see and feel your own sorrow, to connect with others who have sorrow. That is the start of compassion. Having compassion for yourself makes it easier to have compassion for others, to see others' pain and want to help relieve the suffering. Naomi ends with, then it is only kindness that makes sense anymore, only kindness that ties your shoes and sends you out into the day to mail letters and purchase bread. Only kindness that raises its head from the crowd of the world to say, it is I you have been looking for, and then goes with you everywhere, like a shadow or a friend. Once you know sorrow, have felt compassion, only kindness and compassion make sense. Once you have felt both, kindness raises its head and says, she is who you have been looking for, and then goes with you everywhere. Once you've experienced the feeling of kindness and compassion to yourself or others, you no longer want to turn away. You no longer can turn away. You need to help to be kind and compassionate. Acts of kindness and compassion, these are beautiful ways to celebrate our country. And while we are celebrating, we are also fulfilling our requirement to do justice, love kindness, and walk humbly with God. And remember that kindness isn't soft, it's subversive. In a world trained for conflict, compassion is countercultural.
And now please stand in body or spirit for our song of response, America the Beautiful, a Vision.
All those with the Cherish all from large to small with care and tenderness. Oh, beautiful for all we do to heal the ones in pain, restoring hope and gratitude so they can love again. America, America, how wondrous you could be. So may we strive to bring alive a land both brave and free.
We now come for a time for offering. The ministry and daily life of this congregation are sustained in meaningful ways through the generosity of this community. If Wash Park UCC is a place that supports your spiritual life, we invite you to sustain its ministry in return. If this is your spiritual home, you're invited to come forward and place music in the offering, place something in the offering plate while Amy plays a little bit of music. Or we could do it the other way. You could put music in, she could do something off. Okay. We also recognize that loads of folks in this congregation give online, and details for how to do that are available on the screen and in the bulletin. Today, we're participating in the Rocky Mountain Conference's annual Celebration 2026 special offering. This year, our special offering is going to go to Encircle Provo, which provides therapy, housing, drop-in services, creative programming, and community for Provo, Utah's LGBTQ and community. You can give to this special offering by placing cash in one of the envelopes provided in the offering plate, placing a check in the plate with Encircle Provo in the memo line, or using the donation link provided in the bulletin. So you got lots of options. We're now going to have some more music. Please join me in our prayer of dedication. Relational Spirit, you know that healing takes place through connection to self, to others, to the cosmos. Bless our gathered resources for this beautiful purpose. Heal us through connection. Amen. Now please rise in body or spirit for our closing song.
Every
accept this benediction. Go with a tender heart, tender revolution in your hearts, spreading kindness and compassion. Amen. And now let us share a sign of God's peace to our friends gathered both here and on Zoom. You can wave and say peace to the people on Zoom and share with each other here. Let's pass the peace.